They considered themselves just two simple girls from Kentucky, but they became one of the most celebrated acts in country music. The Life and Times of the Judds, next on TNN.
Rockin' with the rhythm.
They were the darlings of country music.
My goodness, you're a rowdy bunch.
They were that rare combination of beauty, brains, and talent. They electrified the airwaves like no mother-daughter team had ever done.
Sitting there, oh, swing, listening to the life rain, baby, on the cheek. Baby, just a me and you. Rockin' with the rhythm on the rain.
Their career was like no other. Their breakup a tragedy, but their story a triumph. After all, these women are the Judds.
Rockin' with the rhythm of the rain. So let the breeze.
They're a great asset to country music, and they added spark, personality, and you never knew what on earth they were going to be doing or saying when they got up on stage. And that's what country music's all about to me.
There was something about them that was different, definitely different, but they had that style that was very unique. Their style was different from anybody.
I think the mother and daughter idea, that would have usually been someone's, and here's our claim to fame, we're mother and daughter. No, or here's our claim to fame, we have red hair, it's just alike. And here's our other claim to fame, we're very, very pretty. But that really wasn't all their claims to fame. When the smoke cleared, they could really sing.
Rockin' with the rhythm of the rain.
From the start, they had a style that was hard to define. Critics claimed they put out a robust sound that gleamed like a polished gemstone, and that they were aggressive without sacrificing femininity. They became two of the most awarded women in country music, but behind all the stardom, there was an innocence, a sincerity, and a quiet strength that shone through, endearing them to the audience.
If I'd known I was going to be this famous, I would not have worn half the stuff I've worn.
Those hairdos and all
But
this
that's
stuff.
the joy of it. Everyone got to watch us experience it as they were, literally.
I think you just hit the nail on the head. I think you just summarized why people accepted us.
Because we were willing to put our butts on the line and be vulnerable.
No, I think they were rooting for us.
And they knew how we felt because we were always very, very honest. And Mom and I always felt like we were sort of ambassadors for taking that chance and being sort of the two girls from Ashland, Kentucky who weren't afraid to throw themselves out there and try.
The story of the Judds begins back in Kentucky, where Mother Naomi was born as Diana Ellen Judd in 1946. Naomi was the eldest of 4 children. Her father was a gas station owner and her mother a spirited housewife.
When I was a kid, she would short sheet the bed. She loved Halloween better than us kids because she'd dress up, sit in a rocking chair on the front porch with candles all around her and make them come and take candy out of her lap, and then she'd scare the bejesus out of them. But laughter is, I think it's in our DNA. I really do.
Throughout most of Naomi's childhood, she lived an idyllic country life. Then, during her high school years, things changed. Her brother Brian was diagnosed with cancer, and his frequent trips to hospitals and grim prognosis tore the family apart. By the age of 17, Naomi was pregnant. She married her boyfriend, Mike Simonella, and gave birth a week before her high school graduation to Christina, better known as Winona. Brian died 2 years after Winona was born. By then, Naomi had moved to the West Coast with her family. There she gave birth to Ashley, who was as different from Winona as Kentucky is to California.
And I think this really says it in one sentence. Winona was born with clenched fists. Ashley was born with open hands, and I was born with working hands. Winona is always arm wrestling the universe. She's so emotional, so dramatic. And she feels things to an extreme, and she flashes like lightning.
The lives of the Judd women have been anything but conventional. Winona was 7 and Ashley only 3 when Naomi left her husband and bad marriage behind. The 3 moved from place to place while the young mother sought ways to fulfill her destiny.
Looking back, I realized that I was in the middle of a lot of chaos. I took things in very deeply and that's probably why I sing the way I do, because the pain and the joy runs very deep. So right off the bat, I was a kid with a lot of emotion and a lot of spirit, and it was hard to be who I was because a lot of people at that time in life didn't talk about things. So for me, it was frustrating to be weird and to try to fit in with the normal.
Naomi wanted to plant roots so her daughters could blossom into secure young women. By 1976, they were back in Kentucky, living on a mountaintop with no telephone or television, and there, Nona began to develop her talent.
I handed her this plastic string acoustic guitar, and I said, okay, don't break this over my head. Isn't that romantic? Isn't that a noble? No, really, it started to give her something to do, because this kid was headed down a dead-end street. She was acting out. She was mad at me because I divorced, and we started singing together just for homemade entertainment to keep from killing each other, too.
For the Judds, life was tough, money and temper short, but in music, Naomi and Winona found peace.
Music was what I had that no one could take from me. Music was my ability to be everything that I wanted to be that I wasn't. So to me, that was what I had that got me through all the moving around. So this was all for a reason, but it was hard because I was not like all the other kids.
We were 2 souls longing to fuse that are afraid to touch. It's just so hard on single moms. And this was something that had the potential, at least, to heal our strained relationship. You know, I mean, fame, money, awards, that stuff never occurred to us. We were trying to get through a day at a time.
Naomi's search for something more had ended right in her own backyard. And there began the singing and the incredible harmony for which the Judds eventually became famous. The Life and Times of the Judds returns in a moment on TNN. The Life and Times of the Judds continues on TNN.
Had a dream about you, baby.
In the mountains of Kentucky, the Judds developed the original sound the world would come to know. Beginning with their very first release, Had a Dream, and lasting throughout their 8-year career, every song was like a signature that clearly read, Judd music.
Well, I can try, but I just can't stop. And the time's dragging by tick-tock. Oh, my heart, you just can't love no one but you. Well, I'm high and dry and lonely.
We plugged into something not of this world. Remember how we used to, do the, it was like we would just connect.
Because your mind is my mind, and my mind is your mind. We were doing a show one night, and I turned to Winona to sing harmony with her.
Or to tell me what to do.
And we felt this zzz kind of thing. And I kind of locked eyes with her like, what was that? Did you feel that too, or am I out here by myself on this one?
We belong together. We help each other be.
Harmony is not two voices singing the same note. It's two distinctly different voices who decide to blend and complement each other. And we decided that night that a third entity arose out of this combination.
With voices like theirs, they could have succeeded in any field of music. But country music held a special place in their hearts.
We listened to bluegrass, and of course we always listen to gospel, and country music was just so natural for us because it comes out of the home, it comes out of the church and the small communities, and talks about the workplace.
Well, we wanted to be believable and be ourselves. We didn't want to. One thing I can say about people keep saying, "Why do you stay in country music?" It's really not about trying to fit into a box somewhere. It's just being who you are.
Winona brought, one of the most, one of the best female vocalist voices into country music. And Naomi brought a whole harmony approach that really hadn't been heard before. Now, they needed destiny or whatever. They needed to have people in their lives to focus them and to believe in them and then to make it happen. But the Judds were the Judds. That's what they brought to the party.
The party began when the Judds moved outside of Nashville. While employed as a nurse, Naomi gave a tape of their music to a patient who was the daughter of their future record producer.
I hate to admit this, but I didn't listen to it for about 3 weeks. And my wife said one morning, "Have you listened to Naomi's tape yet?" And I said, "Nah." She says, "Here it is. It's been sitting on top of the refrigerator. You listen to it or you don't come home." She was so nice, "Diana, you have got to do this and call her. If you don't like it, just call her." I said, okay. So I listened to it on the way into work. And by the time I got to work, I was just thrilled and fascinated and couldn't get to the phone quick enough.
Throughout the following year, Brett Mayer helped to define the sound that would become synonymous with Judd music.
Brent Mayer had asked me to come out to their house on the weekends and work on a little demo with them to sing a little bit. I came in the kitchen, and Winona's got her guitar, man. She is painted up, and so is Mama. And, man, Winona starts playing and singing, and I'm sitting there. They're stars. They're already stars. The rest of the world just had to find that out.
The optimistic predictions of others soon became the Judds' reality. In March of 1983, they went into RCA for an unprecedented live audition.
We didn't have a demo or an 8x10 or a bio or anything. We didn't know, so we were unfiltered. And I stood up at this meeting and I said, let's pretend, Winona gets this look on her face like, oh, crap. My mom is so out there. These people are going to throw us out the door. I said, just pretend that you've discovered the lost tribe of Judds. Mm-hmm. They're going, huh? Because I had just seen some documentary, about Dr. Livingston describing some, tribe in the jungle. And they didn't want to disturb them. They didn't want to bring them any of their diseases. They didn't want to contaminate them with culture. And that's what I was saying to RCA. I said, just leave us be. Just let us, if we're going to self-destruct in front of the American public, that's what we're going to do. But we're going to do it our way. We're going to be honest. We're going to be ourselves. And
Well, to a certain
Fasten your
degree.
seatbelts because it's going to be a bumpy ride.
But the bumpy ride started out smoothly enough. Within 45 minutes after their audition, the Judds were signed to RCA.
They were great. Right after that, we did what was called a mini EP at that point, and had a hit. Reaction was incredible from everybody. Went immediately to a full album, and they were nominated almost immediately for the Horizon Award. You know, the first album went gold, and you know, had #1 records, and everybody was excited about this. So it was just a skyrocket from the beginning.
You've been looking for love all around the world. Baby, don't you know this country girl's still free? Why not me?
I think you have to remember that when the Judds came along, what country music was like. I mean, that was the dark days of urban cowboy, when everything was very processed and very pop-oriented and very confused. Country music didn't have its identity together at that period, and I think when they came in with that sound, it brought a whole freshness to the town.
Why not me when the nights get cold? Why not me when you're growing old? Why not me?
That baby caught on fire quicker than it would seem possible. But what was interesting was the people from different walks of music that really dug the Judds. I mean, bands like U2 listened to our music on their bus. You know, I've had a couple of musicians that were like, I mean, really into like pop rock and stuff like that. Say, man, I got this Judd record. It's the hippest sound I've ever heard. Hip. A country record.
The world's love affair with the Judds was immediate, but the mother-daughter bond that had made them one in song sometimes threatened to tear them apart. And as the girls soared to stardom, often their personal problems were as much in the limelight as their music. The Life and Times of the Judds returns in a moment here on TNN. Continues on TNN. Once the Judds hit the top of the charts, they stayed there.
Mama, I found someone like you said would come along. He's a sight and so unlike any man I've known. I was afraid to let him in.
Their original sound brought them immediate success. Within a year, their first album had 2 hits, Why Not Me and Mama, He's Crazy. Both went straight to #1.
And must be out of his mind. Mama, he's crazy, crazy over me. And in my life,
We were just making records we liked. The 4 of us would sit around and ha-ha and laugh and scream, oh, that's a great song, ha-ha. We liked it, so we made it. And we stayed at a very simple format. You know, daughters sing lead, mamas sing harmony, simple acoustic guitar stuff, pretty straightforward country band, nothing fancy, and the same band, same guys, just enjoying themselves. Oh, it was a big time. It was a wonderful time of year to record with the Judds. It was great fun.
and ones like you are few and far between. Mama, he's crazy.
The young women became one of the hottest acts in the business. They were adored by fans and admired by those who inspired them.
Where he says, always wants to be.
I heard the first record they had. I thought the record was so well performed. We all talked about it. Called our manager and said, man, I heard this record and these ladies are really something. We ought to try to get them for, we had a thing that we were getting ready to do out in Nebraska, and he went to work then to get in touch with them.
In March of 1984, the Judds were scheduled for their first live performance as the opening act for the Statler Brothers.
They were setting up in their band, and the people were already starting to come in. And Winona went over and opened up the curtain. She looked through the curtain and saw all those people out there. She closed the curtain up, turned around to Naomi. She said,
Mommy,
I want to go home. Give me my own space somewhere else other than here. It was terrifying.
we realized they were very good. Now, they're going to tell you how scared they were and everything that first day.
They probably were.
But they didn't really show it.
It was our moment. It was the Olympics, you know, for us. All these years of discipline and hardships and everything, and it was real.
We remember looking at them from the backstage back there, and while they were out there the first night, and just hearing the harmony, we knew they had something special right from the start.
We just had a blast. We did that little set, sang every song we knew.
You know how
we came up off stage and we were just like, you know, monkeys jumping around all over each other like, yes, yes, we did it. Let's go do it again.
They were great from the beginning.
Even though being a new act, they did have a record at that point, but a lot of people in the audience didn't know them. But they had something that connected with the audience, and that's the magic thing that makes it work, and they had it.
But that magic bond they created with the audience didn't always exist between mother and daughter.
Naomi and Winona had been having problems, it turned out, before I ever met them. And, you know, there were some of the little instances that kids get into, you know, trouble we all get into as we're growing up, little things. But Naomi wanted such perfection for Winona, and Winona wanted what Winona wanted, and the two naturally clash.
One night, one of the guys in the band came running into the club and said, "Oh no, they're gonna kill each other," you know, and they're out on the bus. I walked out back, and clothes were flying out the back window of the bus, and they were having at it. You know, they just struggled, and they were thinking there was a lot of tension involved. You know, preempt all, there was a lot of tension concerning several things that were happening right at that particular time, and I just walked in and looked at them both, and I just was as straight as I could be with them. I said, maybe we should just go home and not try to have a career like this, because if the deal is now, you're gonna have to go on beyond this. You're gonna have to understand how to be with each other, or we need to go home, because those people are gonna bust you. If you walk out there and this is my sweet daughter or this is my sweet mom, and that's not true, they're gonna look through you and pound you to pieces, because they're not stupid, and they opted to get real, especially with each other.
This is a very many-layered mother-daughter relationship. I was all she had, and I figured out that one of the reasons single moms get so much flack from their kids is because the kid resents them because they need them so desperately. It's all they have. And in our case, I had one when I was 18, and I was still growing up. So, in a sense, we grew up together.
You know, I've tried to learn from all the things that I did wrong. Unfortunately, that got, you know, put on TV and stuff. So, I guess I became secure with insecurity. I became the poster child for, this is what happens when you become too successful too soon at too early of an age. Who wouldn't overreact at certain things?
Though the Judds' stormy relationship was made public, it had no effect on their music or their popularity. They continually topped the charts. Clearly, the audience couldn't get enough of the Judds.
Tell me about the good old days. Sometimes it feels like this world's gone crazy.
I think the two of us complemented each other because you could relate with one of us, even if you didn't listen to country music. The fact that we're a mother and daughter, that's universal. And people were fascinated with the dynamic. Here's a mother and daughter who could literally go at it one minute, and then get on stage and sing and blend their lives so effortlessly that they were just amazed.
If lovers really fall in love, she said, they stand beside each other, comfortless. Is the promise really something people kept, not just something they were saying? Did families really bow?
Through their music, the Judds found harmony both on and off stage, and what they heard from each other, they admired.
Even though if they were spatting somewhere, they had a true deep love for each other and appreciation. You know, like I'm sure that Naomi, when she listened to her daughter sing a song like Grandpa, I'll tell you, during Naomi's parts, she had a Kleenex with her. She was dabbing her eyes as she was singing harmony. You know, because I'm sure not only of what the song was saying, but she heard such a passion in her daughter. It was her daughter. She was hearing that passion, and why would reciprocate?
Families really bow their heads to prayer. The daddies really never go away.
Throughout the 80s, it looked like there was no end to the success for the mother-daughter duo. But at the end of the decade, good fortune temporarily turned its back on the team, forcing them to say a tearful goodbye.
Tell me about the good old days.
The Life and Times of the Judds returns in a moment on TNN. The Life and Times of the Judds continues on TNN. A number of Grammy Awards, Country Music Awards, gold records, platinum videos, and platinum albums were just some of the honors presented to the Judds, making them one of the most celebrated musical acts during their 8-year career.
As a blessing is really what we floated on. We just floated on a blessing. We just got a hold of it. It picked us up off the floor and picked them up and carried them. And so you don't even think about walking when your legs are not moving. You're just getting carried along. And it floated along really nicely. It was really quite beautiful.
But in October of 1990, the beauty of the moment was crushed with a devastating announcement.
Today's pretty much the most difficult day of my life. I'm sorry.
One day, all the media people were summoned to the RCA conference room, the very same room where they had auditioned those years before. And none of us knew when we went there why we were going there. We were all just sitting there, and all of a sudden, kaboom, this huge bombshell drops that she's desperately ill with this hepatitis, and I think that was part of it, is that none of us really understood what we were going there for. We thought it was going to be some gold record presentation or something like that, and here we were, you know, just presented with this very sad story. It was, I cried.
I prayed about it for several weeks and then realized just how bad the situation was becoming for me. I have to resign, I have to retire from the music industry that I love so much.
That's so painful, I mean, to watch somebody going through that. I guess it wouldn't be so bad if you figured, oh, well, you worked for 35 years at this job and, you know, your career was falling off finally, and just as a good time to retire. But they were right at the top of what they were doing and finally achieving a dream, you know, that Naomi had always had. And so in that achieving that dream, you know, for it to go away, was really a test of her character. And her character really came out.
I was able to live this fairy tale existence for a moment. That's why they called me the Cinderella of country music. You know, Prince Charming and the magic coach and the ball and everybody was rooting for me, and all of a sudden, I'm in a wheelchair and they're telling me I'm gonna die.
There were some real heavy-duty personal things and issues going on. I didn't want my mother to have to leave this way. I wanted her to go out heavyweight champion. You know, I didn't want her to be in a wheelchair, getting a shot of her as she goes into her, you know, doctor appointment. I wanted her to be the queen.
Throughout their career, the Judds had always done it their way, and their ending was no different. In 1991, they received the royal treatment when they went on their final tour.
I first heard about it, the idea of the farewell tour, I was like, I don't think so. It's a terrible idea. But it wound up being a great blessing for both of them that they would get a chance to get out there. If you can make friends with 10 million people, they did. Somehow, they made friends with that many people. And it was a phenomenal thing to watch.
The farewell tour was not only phenomenal, it was also the top grossing tour of '91. But when the tour ended, there was still one more performance to go. The event was legendary. The event was the Judds' final concert. The Life and Times of the Judds returns in a moment here on TNN. On December 4th, 1991, the Judds said their final goodbyes during their last concert. Grossing an incredible $6 million in one night, it broke records, but it broke hearts as well.
How else would we have done it? Now think about it. How else could have the Judds just all of a sudden, oh, they're off the road? No, there needed to be a party.
It's a party!
Suddenly, all that they had, the dream is fading away right before their very eyes.
Hello, America!
They made it through the gig, and I kept watching this thing. And after years of performing myself and trying to be some kind of a performer and understanding what I thought was professionalism, I suddenly saw a new meaning of it. It was realism, was professionalism.
Give a little love, squeeze out a little kiss, give a little hug. I want some more of this. Take a little time, yeah, make a little fuss. That's what a woman wants. So give a little love.
That was a tough gig on all fronts. Having that be the finale of a remarkable career. And then why, bless her heart, was sick. I mean, she couldn't even talk the day before. Could not even talk. And that night really struggled to get through certain songs because her throat was just blood raw. And she was sick as a dog.
So the doctor said that Winona couldn't sing because she didn't want tonight to happen. Because she didn't want to lose me, but you're not going to lose me.
Mom's going to be my road manager. The only reason why I got on that stage at one point was strictly for her. Because for myself, I hated every minute of it. It was harder than anything I've ever done. I never want to ever be there again. But by God, if this is the way it's going to go down, I can't miss this.
And tonight is not my going away party. I'm not going anywhere. You're the one that's going places. This is your going away party. Just spread your wings and fly. And go towards the light, baby. Go towards the light.
Tell me about the good old days. Sometimes it feels like this world's gone crazy.
I sat there with Billy Dean at their last concert, and I cried through the whole show. I felt for Why because it was a big thing from, going on a tour where everybody was taking care of everything to it's on her shoulders, and now she's going to have to go back out by herself. And my heart went out to her. And then Naomi, for her to be sick is one thing. You know, people deal with being sick. And I knew she could deal with that, and I knew she would. The thing I didn't think she'd be able to deal with, because I didn't know how I would be able to deal with it, somebody coming up and saying to me, "You can't do this anymore." A person who has never been on stage has no idea what that's like. And when they say, "You can't do this anymore," you're like, but, I mean, this is my life. This is my heart, soul.
Good old days.
We always have this battle between what is country and what is popular. And they were both popular and country. And that helped us bring in a lot of fans. It really did. And there's still, in my opinion, a hole from what they have left behind.
Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
I'm very proud of our music and the fact that Winona and I work through our stuff. And when I hear our songs on the radio today, or I'm in a store and they play it, I just go away somewhere. Not only do I think about all the wacky fun times, but I think about this amazing adventure. Nobody will ever know how much fun we had.
We did it together. Thank
The Life and Times of the Judds returns in a moment on TNN. When the curtain came down on the final concert, Naomi's musical journey had ended, but Winona's had really just begun.
For her first session on her own, we were sitting in the studio and no Winona. You know, an hour goes by, no Winona. And I'm sitting in just getting some guitars together, and I just woke up like someone talked to me and said, "You better go out in the parking lot." So I just went outside in the parking lot, and sure enough, there's Winona sitting out in her car. And she's just coming apart, you know, this is not, I can't do this, I can't do this. You know, just like having a hard time. And we talked, and she got it back together.
For Winona, the expectation of success as a soloist was almost too much to bear.
For years, I felt like I had to live up to that expectation, and then one day I gave myself a break and said, if I never sing another stinking note, I'm still worthy. So I've had to give myself a big break, because to me, the Judds were bigger than life.
Winona truly had no choice. She had to strike out on her own and create new Judd music.
She did not try to duplicate the Judds sound on her own. She very much went out into this bluesier direction. It's still the same voice. I mean, there's still that element, but I think she's very much trod her own path as an artist.
As far as I can see, the silent agree. I can put my trust in just one thing.
By the time Winona began her solo career, she had been in the music business for almost a decade, but she was used to being part of a duo. So every step towards success was a difficult one, especially when it came to her first live performance. Fortunately, her mother was still there for her.
You had to be there.
Yeah.
There's really no way to explain it.
You know, I walked her to the stage,
That
just
was
like the two of us had always walked to the stage. And
well, it's been this for 10 years, and all of a sudden it's now, you know, and then all of a sudden you have to, okay, here I go without a net.
We're so sensitive towards each other. She was feeling awful because it was so
I couldn't enjoy
unfair
myself.
that I couldn't, you know, go out there with her.
But Winona went out on her own, and in typical Judd style, she won the audience over.
She was so good. I thought
Was he
I was
talking?
going to explode. I thought my head was just gonna, you know, like when you untie a balloon.
Okay, Mother.
She was so good. That audience was like a dog getting ready to jump on a bone.
You know what
They
I
were
wanted
just-
to do? I wanted to go out there and just throw myself on the floor
She
and
could
fall
do
down
it.
and just make everyone gasp. Because in everybody's mind, they're going, can she do it? Can she go out there by herself and do it? And I thought, I'm just going to go out. And I did. One thing about me is I say what people are thinking. If you're thinking
The
something...
emperor has no clothes.
Yeah, I wanted to go out there and just, okay, everybody, I know you're all wondering if I can do it. That's what helped me move forward.
Beginning with her first album, Winona earned rave reviews from the critics, and once again, a Judd was back in the limelight.
I've been a rock and I got my fences. I never let them down.
With 3 successful solo albums behind her, Winona is prepping a new one, and it promises to take her career in yet another direction.
I shivered once. You broke into my soul. The damage is done now. I'm out of control. How did you get to me?
It's time to take this to the next level. You know, I'm gonna go to Europe. I'm gonna go to the moon if I have to. By God, somebody stop me. I'm out of control. And I just want to enjoy myself and laugh and be around people I love and play my heart out. To me, that's what life is about, is learning to celebrate more and be in the moment.
You can make me want you anytime you want to. You're burning me alive.
Winona has achieved a newfound harmony, one that successfully blends her professional and personal lives. And so has Naomi. Her hepatitis C is in remission, and she serves as a spokesperson for the American Liver Foundation. She's also a highly sought-after inspirational speaker, traveling the country to help others with her message of healing. For the Judds, whether together or apart, their legacy lives on in more than just music. Their story is one of survival, where in the end, the human spirit is forever triumphant.
Thank you all very much.
Whatever a good vacation